Good day viewers, welcome to another edition of the Daily Strange Stories. I'm John Brown. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend and are feeling refreshed and ready for the week ahead. Our lead story for today: plot to remove President Ramaphosa thickens, and here is why senior ANC cadres want him to go. The South Africa's political landscape is currently shaking and very fragile, as a shadowy plot is unfolding to push President Cyril Ramaphosa out of power. This scheme has grown more intense in recent weeks, drawing in senior members of the African National Congress, or ANC, who feel deeply unhappy with the current direction of the party and the country. These high-ranking figures, known as cadres, believe that Ramaphosa's leadership has led to compromises that weaken the ANC's core values, and they are determined to replace him with someone who can steer the organization back to what they see as its true path. The reasons behind their push run deep, rooted in personal disappointments, ideological clashes, and fears about the party's future survival. As tensions build ahead of key meetings, this internal battle could reshape the nation's governance in unexpected ways. The plot gained new momentum during a recent ANC National Executive Committee meeting, where Ramaphosa displayed a strong emotional reaction. Without naming anyone directly, he fixed his attention on two specific individuals in the room, making it clear he knew about efforts to remove him. Those two were Deputy Minister Mondli, Gungubele, and Deputy Minister Phaahla, who sources within the party say are at the forefront of this effort. Ramaphosa's words highlighted his awareness of comrades in the very same gathering who were actively working against him, unhappy with their own roles in the government. This moment disrupted what was meant to be a vote of no confidence against him, catching the plotters off guard and forcing them to pause their plans. Even so, the setback was only temporary. Insiders reveal that the group behind the plot commands support from at least 60 out of the 80 members in the National Executive Committee. They had intended to force a change right then, but Ramaphosa's preemptive comments scattered their momentum. Now, they are regrouping, with plans to try again possibly as soon as the next meeting. This persistence shows how serious the challenge is, as the plotters believe they have the numbers to succeed if they can align their strategies more carefully. At the center of this discontent are the personal stories of Gungubele and Phaahla. Both men experienced significant demotions when the Government of National Unity was formed last year after the elections. Gungubele had held important positions before, serving as minister in the presidency for 17 months and then as communications minister. But to make room for the new unity arrangement, which included partnerships with other parties like the Democratic Alliance, he was moved aside. Now, he works as deputy to Solly Malatsi, the Democratic Alliance's Minister of Communications and Digital Technologies. This shift felt like a deep personal slide to Gungubele, who saw his authority reduced and handed over to someone from outside the ANC's traditional circle. Similarly, Phaahla had been the health minister, a role he held with pride. But in June last year, he was replaced by Aaron Motsoaledi, another ANC figure who returned to the position. Phaahla expressed disbelief at this decision, feeling undermined as if his contributions were not valued. He questioned why the health ministry was given back to Motsoaledi, treating it as though Motsoaledi had some unique status that Phaahla lacked. These changes left both men feeling humiliated and overlooked, fueling their drive to challenge Ramaphosa's leadership. They see his choices in forming the Government of National Unity as the root cause of their downgrades, and they are channeling that frustration into a broader campaign against him. The plotters admit that their first attempt failed because of a lack of solid commitments from supporters. Many in the National Executive Committee agree that Ramaphosa should step down, but they hesitate due to concerns about their own positions. Some want to protect their current roles in government, while others outside the inner circle hope to gain cabinet spots if a new leader takes over. This mix of motives creates divisions. Some act out of a genuine desire to save the ANC from what they see as decline, while others pursue personal gains. Succession questions also complicate matters, as no clear agreement exists on who would replace Ramaphosa. Without guarantees of what comes next, many backed away from the initial no-confidence vote, even though a motion to change the agenda had already been introduced. Gungubele and Phaahla are not acting alone. They represent the visible front of a larger group within the ANC known as the Denialist faction. This group refuses to accept the reality of the party's poor performance in last year's national elections, where the ANC fell to just 40% of the vote, down from 57% in 2019. They deny that the loss of an outright majority forced the need for the government of national unity and its compromises, such as sharing power with the Democratic Alliance. Instead, they believe the ANC should have found ways to accommodate all its members without diluting its influence. This faction provides the ideological support and protection for the plot, allowing it to endure despite setbacks. Behind the scenes, more powerful figures from the party's radical economic transformation wing are said to give quiet approval to these efforts. They view Ramaphosa's centrist approach and his alliance with the Democratic Alliance as a betrayal of the ANC's nationalist roots.
Municipality must act decisively to improve audit outcomes. Comrades, it cannot and must not be acceptable that in our country we control a number of municipalities. It is hugely painful each time when the Auditor General comes to report to Cabinet and they put up their report, and those municipalities that do best are not ANC-controlled municipalities. And I can name it here because there's nothing wrong with competition. They are often DA-controlled municipalities. We need to ask ourselves, what is it that they are doing that is better than what we are doing?
Their ultimate goal is to install an interim leader who can pull the party away from this partnership and return it to a platform focused on traditional economic policies that prioritize transformation and redistribution. This vision contrasts sharply with Ramaphosa's emphasis on stability and unity, highlighting a deep ideological rift that has simmered for years. Ramaphosa's supporters are pushing back hard against these moves. His close allies are working to show a united front publicly while privately convincing undecided National Executive Committee members of the dangers in another leadership shakeup. They point to the economic risks, such as market instability and investor hesitation, that could follow if the president is forced out prematurely. Some loyalists even think Ramaphosa overreacted in the meeting, arguing that the plot was already known and unlikely to succeed. They describe it as an old fallout from the government of national unity cabinet formations, where not everyone could be placed in top roles. In their view, a no-confidence vote would have failed anyway, given Ramaphosa's strong backing within certain party circles. Adding to the complexity, there have been whispers that Ramaphosa himself considered stepping down voluntarily after hosting the G20 summit last weekend. Sources say he thought about resigning to allow the party to move forward without him, but his supporters quickly opposed the idea. They worry that his sudden exit would signal infighting to voters, potentially harming the ANC's chances in next year's local government elections. Voters tend to turn away from parties seen as unstable, either by not voting or by choosing rivals. To avoid this, Ramaphosa's backers want him to complete his full second term, which runs until December 2027. They hope this would set a new precedent for the ANC, breaking the pattern of past presidents like Thabo Mbeki and Jacob Zuma, who were removed before finishing their terms. The party sees this as part of its renewal process, aiming for more stable leadership transitions. On the other side, Ramaphosa's opponents are eager for change before the upcoming National General Council next month. This midterm gathering is not meant for electing new leaders, that happens at the full national conference, but it serves as a platform to review policies and set directions. Some suggest dissolving the entire National Executive Committee and creating an interim national task team to lead temporarily. Ideas include appointing a new convener and coordinator to guide the party. One controversial proposal, outlined in a letter circulated among senior members in the Eastern Cape, calls for former President Thabo Mbeki to head this task team. This letter, shared in a provincial executive committee WhatsApp group by Chair Oscar Mabuyane, sparked debates at a veterans political education session that Mbeki attended 3 weeks ago. While some saw it as an attempt to undermine Ramaphosa using these educational forums, others dismissed any direct link. The ANC Veterans League, led by President Snugi Zigalala, has strongly opposed these ideas. The League rejects any secretive campaigns to destabilize the party and insists that Ramaphosa must finish his term. They condemn activities that divide the organization and warn against aligning with what they call dark forces aiming to create disunity. Zigalala has made it clear that the veterans stand behind Ramaphosa and will not participate in efforts to remove him. He also addressed rumors of Ramaphosa planning to step down after South Africa passed the G20 presidency to the United States, which eventually took place last week, stating that no such intention has been expressed by the president himself.
This gavel of this G20 summit formally closes this summit and now moves on to the next president of the G20, which is the United States, where we shall see each other again next year. The summit is therefore closed.
These rumors, he says, came from unnamed sources and have not been discussed in key party committees like the National Working Committee or National Executive Committee. Ramaphosa's advisor and special envoy, Becheni Chauge, has echoed this dismissal, calling the rumors false and designed to undermine the success of the G20 summit, which was the first ever held in Africa. Chauge highlights Ramaphosa's track record in promoting clean government, fighting corruption through independent courts and judicial commissions, and building national unity. He notes that the constitution allows a president 2 terms, and Ramaphosa was democratically re-elected by parliament for his second. This support underscores Ramaphosa's commitment to stability, especially in maintaining the government of national unity, which many feared would fall apart without him. Political analysts had weighed to the argument that Ramaphosa is likely to stay. Professor Ntsigelelo Breakfast, who accurately predicted the ANC's drop in last year's elections, believes the party's performance will continue to decline in future polls if internal issues persist. Another expert, Dr. Franz Kronge, assumes Ramaphosa will remain in office until at least the end of 2027 or early 2028, after the next elective conference. Kronge points out that nothing indicates an imminent resignation, and removing Ramaphosa now would be unwise given his high favorability ratings. Surveys show that about half of South African voters view him positively, and an astonishing 84% of ANC voters rate him favorably or very favorably. No potential successor matches these numbers, making it risky for the party to let him go. The succession debate is heating up, though not yet fully underway. There is consensus among some that Deputy President Paul Mashatile is not ideal due to allegations of corruption scandals tied to him.
God is good. All the time. God is good. All the time.
Names like Party National Chair Gwede Mandashe, Secretary General Fikile Mbalula, Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi, First Deputy Secretary General Nomvula Mokonyane, and former Minister Naledi Pandor have been mentioned as possibilities. In past elections, the presidency has been contested by up to 6 candidates, though some drop out due to lack of support. Ramaphosa's recent successes, like the well-received G20 summit that benefited the Global South and Africa, strengthen his position. Internally, he is praised for handling the event smoothly, and externally, it has boosted his image. Speculation about tensions between Ramaphosa and Mbeki has been downplayed. Mbeki actively participates in National Executive Committee meetings, offering critical but constructive input without undermining the current president. The Veterans League encourages open democratic processes for leadership contests, opposing ideas of uncontested conferences. They believe anyone who wants to run should be allowed to campaign, upholding the party's democratic values. This ongoing struggle reflects the ANC's broader challenges since its peak. The party has seen steady declines in elections since 2009, following the Polokwane conference where Zuma was elected. Ramaphosa's leadership has not reversed this trend, with a sharp drop last year forcing the government of national unity. Opponents argue this alliance dilutes the ANC's power, while supporters see it as necessary for stability. The plotters' push for change could lead to an interim setup, but Ramaphosa's allies are determined to block it, emphasizing the need for him to lead through the National General Council and beyond. As the National General Council approaches, the plotters are focusing on securing stronger backing and promises of roles in a post-Ramaphosa era. They blame the first failure on self-preservation instincts among members, where insiders protect their spots and outsiders seek entry. This dynamic reveals the human elements driving the plot: ambition, resentment, and a quest for relevance in a changing political scene. Ramaposa, aware of these grievances for some time, chose to address them head-on in the meeting, signaling he will not go quietly. His confidants express confidence that any renewed attempt will fail. They question why he should leave just because others crave power, insisting he will depart on his own terms. Gungubele has publicly rejected the accusations as nonsense, pointing out that no names were mentioned and challenging anyone to make direct claims. Phaahla has not responded to similar inquiries. Yet, the undercurrents persist, with the denialist faction providing a shield for the plot's survival. The economic implications loom large. Analysts warn that Ramaphosa's early exit could create uncertainty, negatively affecting markets and investor confidence. This would be especially damaging ahead of the 2026 municipal elections, where the ANC aims to regain ground. With his strong support base, particularly among party voters, removing him risks alienating key groups and further eroding the ANC's standing. In the Eastern Cape, the circulated letter proposing Mbegi's leadership of a task team has been labeled an isolated incident by veterans, who urge the author to come forward. They see it as part of broader efforts to sow discord, possibly linked to informal lobbying in party meetings. The veterans' political education sessions, including those with Mbegi, are meant for constructive discussion, not plots. Zigalala has emphasized that Mbegi's contributions in meetings are sharp but comradely, not aimed at removal. Looking ahead, the National General Council will be a critical test. It focuses on policy review and future directions, not elections, but opponents hope to use it to force a shift. Suggestions for dissolving the National Executive Committee and forming a task team highlight the desperation among some to reset the party's course. However, the veterans and Ramaphosa's inner circle remain firm, advocating for stability and completion of his term as part of the ANC's renewal. Ramaphosa's handling of the G20 has been a bright spot, earning praise for advancing Africa's interests and demonstrating his capability on the global stage. This success, combined with his role in stabilizing the government of national unity, makes his position more secure. Many ANC members credit him with preventing the collapse of this arrangement, which was initially met with skepticism. As this plot thickens, it exposes the fractures within the ANC, between those who accept the need for compromise and those who reject it. The senior cadres pushing for Ramaphosa's removal are driven by a blend of personal slights, like the demotions of Gungubele and Phaahla, and deeper ideological beliefs that the party has strayed too far. Their regrouping efforts signal that the battle is far from over, with crucial weeks ahead that could decide the fate of South Africa's leadership. What do you think? Should President Ramaphosa stay in power to finish his term and guide the ANC through its challenges, or is it time for new leadership to take over and change the party's direction? Share your honest opinions in the comments below, and let's discuss what this means for South Africa's future. Thanks for watching this news bulletin. Please share your opinion in the comments section. We would be glad to read and respond to your comments. Let's meet again tomorrow in our next strange story. Wishing you a fruitful and productive week ahead.